Welcome back to another episode of This is Jax. Today's guest, none other than Christina Block. She's a Jacksonville native, incredible photographer whose work is as captivating as it is authentic. Growing up, Christina was constantly in the lens of her dad's camera, capturing every moment, big and small. And while it drove her crazy back then, those endless snapshots have shaped her understanding of the profound value in documenting life's fleeting moments. From reluctant subject to masterful creator, Christina has turned those early experiences into a lifelong passion for photography. Today, we'll explore her journey, the influence of her dad's relentless documentation, and how she weaves that same magic into her own work right here in Jacksonville. Welcome to This is Jax, a hyper-local podcast. We're going to do our best. We're going to bring on successful business owners, the people who drive the cities, share a lot about what makes our city so great. So you can be confident and comfortable. This is a city that you want to call home. Christina.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. And I was looking at, the notes you sent me and just from us talking. And so it's a pretty interesting story, kind of just growing up, how, you were influenced with the camera.
Yeah, my dad he was pretty relentless. I mean, he would have, especially the video camera, we would be, out in public and he'd have to talk through the whole thing. Like, this is Christina eating ice cream. This is mom, with the baby. And it's so embarrassing and cringy. But now that I'm older, I realize he just wanted to remember. Yeah. He wanted to remember those times that a lot of us forget about. So I'm a little more patient with him these days.
Good. So he was narrating the story as he went.
Oh, yeah. And he goes into detail. I mean, he must have hundreds of videotapes. And I keep telling him, I want him to, how they have those companies where you can send them all the tapes and they'll, I'm dying.
Digitize it or something.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll do that. But I mean, I know my childhood, I don't really remember that much, to be honest. I mean, I remember some things, but specifics, I'll see a photograph and then it'll trigger, I remember. So.
Yes. When I was a kid, I remember I felt like I would hear my dad say, I can't remember. He'd be telling a story and he'd be like, I can't remember right when it was or where it was. And in my mind, I was like, what is wrong with you, Dad? I remember every moment of my life. And now already in my mid 30s, I'm like, yeah, what year was it?
Yeah.
So it's relatable.
I know.
Okay. So you've been in photography business and we kind of already touched on it a little bit, but you've been on the photography business for about 10 years professionally, but you said you always had the camera with you, even when you were younger. And obviously you've got the influence from your dad, but before professional photography, what types of influences shaped your photography style?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, obviously you find inspiration everywhere, but I think organically as the years, I look back at when I first started shooting, I had my LLC business legit. And my style has changed a lot over the years. And I think I'm finally at a place where I don't think I'll change that much. Maybe I'll change a little bit of equipment, cameras might get better. But for me now, I just really appreciate genuine moments and people being who they are. When I first started out, I did a lot of and I hate posing now, but I used to, pose babies in this perfect little, blanket or throw them in a basket or, do stuff like that. And, put all these horrible filters. It's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. And then now I'm at a point to where I keep everything really minimal. And of course I tweak. It takes a long time to edit normal stuff. You wouldn't think it would be like that. But so I tend to just people to be them as much as themselves that they can be during a shoot.
Yeah, that's good. And I do understand that because there's oftentimes, even with your phone, where your eyeballs see something incredible and you just want to capture it.
Right.
And you take that picture and it's not what it is, but with your photos, being a professional at it, you're able to kind of take that and tweak that photo to where, okay, now it actually resembles what I saw with my eyeballs.
Yeah.
And it got me there. So I like that. So, you've been in Jacksonville for a while. What role did Jacksonville have in your photography? Whether that's your style or what types of things were you taking photos of, for just your own enjoyment and, filling that in your life?
Well, I still go downtown often because I like the architecture and the buildings and the heavy shadows, and I like shooting street. So just people, being out there in the environment. I appreciate we're losing a lot of them, but like the older buildings, they're so intricate. See, we got to cut that.
Intricate. No, it's there. It lives in the annals of time in the podcast world.
Intricate. Okay, so the buildings downtown are very intricate, like the older historical ones.
Yeah.
So I really like that, because like now when they build buildings, they're just like, there's like no personality. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but I think like way back in the day, they really took time to make things special and
sure. I can appreciate that.
Yeah. So
kind of the city itself, just seeing the history of the city and capturing, those moments there. That's good. That's good. You've been here your whole life. And so what moment did you realize Jacksonville was more than just a place you lived in, but had become home for you?
Well, let's see. How would I answer that? I've lived in Jacksonville my whole life. We did move to Texas when I was like a little baby. I don't remember that. But I think like in my late 30s, early 40s, like once my business was really going, like it's crazy how many people know everybody. Like, I'll have a client and they're like, oh my God, I work with them, or oh my God, like we're friends. And
yeah.
So I do like that aspect about Jacksonville, because I would say like the biggest part of my business has been word of mouth, like somebody that knows somebody. So I really like that aspect. But I don't know, probably once my business got going, I probably really felt at home. But I mean, it's weird. It's always been home. So
yeah. So you just always been there. As a grown up, I feel like now I have the opportunity though that I could go anywhere, but I basically like have chose to stay here. And then once I'm here, I'm like, yeah, no, I am here. Like it doesn't feel like it was a choice. It felt like it just kind of happened to me. I don't know if that's similar. And I agree. And that's on this show. This is Jax. That's a resounding theme that comes up is the people here. You feel like you know everybody. It's like a big little town. Those are kind of the way people describe it.
Right.
The pace moves slower. And so you're able to kind of get to know it better than just kind of being like ran over by it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Going back to your photo stuff, you talked a little bit about shadows and the light. One thing I noticed anytime that we're doing a photo shoot with you or whatever, you don't use a lot of external lighting or I guess, I don't know. It's only natural light, not necessarily like electric light or any types of flashes and stuff.
Yeah.
So how did that come into your style?
Well, I mean, I actually after I had my son, I actually went back to school at UNF and just took some photography classes to finish up my BFA. And so we learned there, the professors were amazing, but we learned they had their own little studio set up. So they had all the lighting and we learned all of that. So I do know how to work lighting and I know how it's utilized. But for me, I'm very basic. I tend not to get into all the technical things and even with my camera. So I figured and I've done jobs where I've had to bring external lighting and I just kind of I don't enjoy it. You got to lug all this stuff around. I want to be able to just have my camera and shoot. Okay. So, sometimes it does make it difficult because I have some clients that have darker homes or, the light's not sufficient. But I love taking that natural light and using it to make a photograph without having to add that flash. And I also feel like it changes the image so much.
Okay.
The flash, I feel like it's very, well, we did your wife's home birth, at night. So, like the images look totally different from like natural light as far as like, you see every little thing, you see the coloring's different, and you can adjust it, but you can't adjust it like,
right.
You can't make it look like natural light. So I really appreciate just natural light because it's natural, it's organic, it's what it looks like. It's the closest to what it looks like to me. The photograph of being real life, like it's real light. So
yeah, that's kind of my favorite style. And it's probably kind of what has led us getting connected too. One of my favorite styles is when I look at the photo and it looks like I'm looking at almost like 3-dimensional because it is that, and it doesn't have a heavy edits. And I know styles come and go and trends come and go. And so for a while it was like everything was like really dark and filtered and grainy. And then it popped out. It seems like every wedding photographer is like bright white and it's almost like just washed out completely.
Yes.
And, but even every photo, I've always been attracted no matter what those things were. So if you go back and look at any of the professional photos that I have, whether it was with you or somebody else, I was seeking out people who gave us that crystal clear real life image because that's the moment that I want to preserve and I want to carry on. So I do appreciate that. And I do love that. So tell me a little bit, you touched on the home birth there. I think one of the favorite things you mentioned that you like to do is the first 48, right? What do you call it specifically?
Yeah, I just call it, oh my God, my mind. First 48.
Just first 48.
Yeah, I think some other people call it like fresh 48 or something like, I don't even know. I know like that's a term within the community, but like, I'm such a like Dateline 48 hours like fan. I thought let's just do first 48.
Okay. So for those out there listening or maybe watching on YouTube or whatever, give them a little rundown of what that first 48 is and why that's so important to you, why you enjoy it.
So first 48 is basically like, you're pregnant, you could be giving birth in 6 months, you could be giving birth in a month. And basically we just kind of get booking down. And then once you're heading to the hospital, like whether it's planned or not planned, if you're heading to the hospital, the client or the husband will text me and be like, hey, it's going down. She's about to deliver. And then after the delivery, they will text me and then they'll be like, baby's here, and they'll show me pictures. And so then I get with them and get a time that's good for us both. And I'll either come in, usually it's on the second day, and usually it's kind of like in the morning because sometimes they'll actually make you go home later in the second day.
Yeah.
But I'm there, I'm like, if you think of like documentary, like when you look in a magazine or reading an article and you're looking at documentary images of just like what's going on, that's what I'm doing for my clients. So you'll leave and like, you'll be able to remember like the hospital room. You'll be able to remember all the little details and like the baby's feet, kind of their toes curl. Like they still have, a lot of ashy stuff on them. Sometimes their hair still has, stuff all in it. And of course, no one looks like amazing, right? Like you just gave birth, like you're not going to look all amazing and beautiful, but like that moment is so beautiful because it's like when you're not going to remember all that stuff. And, I regret when 17 years ago, I had my son. I maybe have like 5 pictures from the whole time I was there. And like, I want to remember, but I don't have those like mind memories. So we kind of, once I go in there, I kind of like shoot a little bit for myself and details and what the room looks like, the vibe is like. And, we'll take some pictures like with the mom and baby or the family, just in the bed. It's just like, I don't pose them. I just, tell them, why don't you hold the baby? And then sometimes they want to like undress them to see like the whole body with the diaper on. And I just think it's really cool. Like I love it. I love doing it. And I'm a horrible like marketer. Like I'm so bad at it. I should get some tips from you.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, we can work together on some stuff.
Yeah, sweet.
So I've thought about that, and obviously you've done photos for me now, did the maternity shoot. Then you did the live birth.
Oh, yes.
Have you done any other home births?
I haven't. You guys were the first, and I was like, I was so excited. Like, I wanted to do it. I actually have a friend, Cindy, and that's what she does. She's a PA, and she delivers home deliveries. So I was able to get a lot of great information from her.
Okay.
And I was telling Shauna, your wife, I was like, let's please have this baby, like, when the sun comes up or it's natural light, like it's going to be so gorgeous. But obviously you can't plan.
Yeah, no.
And even my friend Cindy, she's like, oh, the baby's going to come like during the middle of the night when it's like pitch black out. So I was kind of prepared. So,
okay.
But that was an amazing experience.
So amazing. And I never knew that I was going to become like a home birth advocate as like a mid 30-year-old man. But now I go around to everybody and I'm like, listen, you've got to experience this. And if I want to prove it to them, I have the photos. I know you took those photos for us as like that documentary style. And you're like, you're probably not going to show these to people. I show them to everybody.
Dude, sweet.
I'm going to make a book, put it on the coffee table. Yeah. But so then you came back and you did those other pictures of Halen, the baby. And those are awesome pictures as well. And so it was like full circle. And now everything we do, we have like a birthday party. You talked about documenting style.
Right.
And I'm like, I want you there for like every event.
Yeah.
I literally am like, we were like, hey, we're having Axel's birthday party. Who's coming over? Just my mom and dad and like my one friend. I'm like, is Christina coming?
I know. I mean, no, it's funny you mentioned that though. I actually shoot tons of birthday parties and especially for the little ones. Social media and Instagram's so weird because like, I feel I can't share everything, so probably like 75% of my work, like never gets shared. But that's actually a big common thing. Okay. Like I shoot a lot of first birthday parties, definitely. And then, some people just, have that extra little bit of income and maybe photographs are important to them and they want to like splurge.
Okay. Well, going back to Jacksonville, let's talk a little bit more because, you really like the city and then you said a couple things in your notes that I was curious about. So thinking about the vision of the future for Jacksonville, if you had the power to make one major change to enhance Jacksonville for its current residents or newcomers, what would that be?
Oh, hands down, it would be like downtown, like make it walk. I mean, I love traveling to New York because like you can just go down to the city and like be busy for like days, I love like, I would love to see that here, like the people watching, the shops, the life inside of downtown. I feel like Jacksonville is so big. We don't really have like a central like hangout part. Okay. Is that like, do you feel like we do or what do you think?
Yeah, there's a few different places, you've got different locales. You've got Avondale. You certainly have 5 Points, but there are smaller places. They're not major, right? Like for how big the city is, I can see that. And it's just so spread out. And then you have the beaches, of course. Mm-hmm. So you've got a ton of stuff there all the way down to St. Augustine, right? But not like one major place. I remember a few years back, they were on Bay Street where all the where like Underbelly or Chop House, House is. Yeah. That's one particular spot where I would like to see. And I think it's coming. It like maybe 15 years ago, it was really busy and then all of a sudden it like died and it was like completely shut down. And then it's been getting revitalized. I think the stadium district and the stuff they're trying to do there is kind of spilling over. And hopefully once that's there, we get more. I think the other thing that I would like to see from a real estate perspective is residential. And the reason we don't have a lot of, so when I think about that, like a hangout place or like a place that everybody's coming to, well, when downtown is mostly office space, everybody leaves and drives to their homes in the suburb in the evening. So there's not enough like, how do you open a business without having the customers to fill the space, right?
Yeah.
So we're not going to see more businesses downtown until we get more residential high rises or towers downtown, which some people don't want to see or to have either, right? You know?
What I would love, like, it's a shame. I mean, I think like there's so many great, again, older historical buildings that could like they did to the, did you ever see the Barnett Bank, like the old Barnett Bank building before they turned it into like apartments?
I'm not sure if I did, but.
Okay. But it was like, I had an opportunity to shoot in there before like they actually started construction, but like, I thought that was pretty cool. And I don't know how they did as far as like getting people in there to live in there now, but I think more projects like that would be really awesome. Cause I think too, like the younger generation too, they appreciate like those cool lofts, you know, apartments. Like I would love, you know, to live in like a cool, just loft apartment. Yeah. And I think a lot of people really would like that. So I think we need a little less, you know, like all the apartment buildings that all look the same.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we need less of that and more like unique things.
Yeah. Open space, lofted apartments. Yeah. Those would be very cool. Modular floor plans.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
That we could use. And then, you know, especially with that creative side, you can also attract a creative group, because I know there's a lot in different cities where those open loft, where it becomes a work, especially the work from home movement. Now you have like the work/living space. And because it's modular, you can make it fit whatever your needs are, you know, there. True. So yeah, I agree with you there. I would love to see that. I would love to see some older buildings refurbished. I think it's coming. I have a feeling it's coming as they put, like I said, I think as they pour into the sports district, that's going to overflow naturally. And I think that's their goal, even when they're talking about working on the stadium and partnering with that. I think the reason that things like that pass, and on the surface level, people are like, well, why does tax money go to help with the stadium? Well, it's because it popularizes that area. It brings more activity to that area, which hopefully overflows into some of the other parts of the city. True. Right. That's the mission behind that. So what about Christina Block? What about the photography business? What's the future look like?
Well, I mean, honestly, like when we were talking about the apartments downtown, and I just traveled to Seattle to see my brother not too long ago. And I was walking down a little like, you know, street, and they had a bunch of businesses, and there was this one like art shop. So I went in there, and I thought it was really cool because like she designed, the building was already there, but she designed it to where they live in the back of the building, her and her husband. And then she has her art shop in the front. I was like, that's brilliant. I was like, but that's what they did like a long time ago. Right. You know, so I think, I mean, that would be amazing. One day I would love to do that. I mean, my son's 17, so a few more years, you know, he's going to be off to college, and I'm going to be like, what am I going to do with myself? Very cool. So yeah. So like a mixed use, like you live there as well as a studio, maybe as well as a storefront to like. Yeah, that would be a dream. And I've always wanted like my own natural light studio, but single mom and like finances, I can't afford it. Yeah. So, that's my dream. And, to keep photographing people and their stories, and hopefully like I can do a little bit more with documentary work. Yeah. Like, cause that really, you know, drives me and my soul and my spirit. And I get to love like meeting new people and hearing their stories. So if we could get some of that too going, then it'd be cool. Cool. Sweet. Well, I can't wait to see it come true. Well, I'll be looking forward to the studio. Yeah, you'll be finding me the new space. So. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Lovely. Let's get to work on it. Sweet. Thanks again for coming in, spending time. I know we spent some time together in some other different areas, but this is your first time here, so I appreciate you taking the time to come in. Of course. Thank you for having me. For the listener out there, if they want to get in touch with you, want to get a hold of you, you know, one way, what's the best way? One way. Probably email. Okay. And it's a really easy, it's Christina_Block, which is BLOCK @ iCloud. Perfect. Yeah. And Instagram, definitely. Instagram,
Yeah.
I get a lot of movement in my message box. So
we'll definitely share both of those in the links in the show notes. Thanks again for coming on, and thanks for listening. This is Jax.
Thanks.